Welcome to the Holding Priority Podcast, the Magic the Gathering CDH podcast. I'm Cardboard Cryptid.
I'm the Gaming Ghost.
On today's episode, we'll discuss the Final Fantasy set Commander cards.
This set has been crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know about the commanders, but in general, like, find a collector's box anywhere. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
We did a 20-hour pre-release, and I think last time we recorded it was before, and now we've done it and it's after. So we got to play with a lot of the standard cards, not really too many of the commander cards. But if you guys are interested in that 20-hour breakdown of what our pre-release was like, we'll get it up. Won't be a 20-hour podcast. It'll be a podcast about a 20-hour event.
Yeah.
That sounds awful.
I think that, I don't think that it would be as interesting 20 hours in.
Yeah. It's like at this second, this is what I was doing. And I pooped twice during that. So there'd be two.
I washed my hands.
Yeah.
I blew my nose.
Yeah.
I waited on the next round. Yeah.
Before we get into the commander cards, let's go into the shuffle up. So the Final Fantasy set, it looks like there is a ton of content out there. So if you guys have come by and seen our content, or you're a regular listener and you're listening to us, thank you so much for choosing us. We got a comment on our Final Fantasy MTG main set video that says, "What a cool set. Arg. I love Final Fantasy so much." And our reply was, well, we had a lot of fun reviewing it. It was hard to stay on topic. Eyes 3.5 hour runtime. If you made it through that whole thing, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're dedicated.
Yeah, it was a really fun podcast to do, but it was really hard for us to stay on topic. And
That's very true.
Yeah. And that is it for the new comments. So if you're watching this video right now, please leave a comment. If you're on Spotify, YouTube, anything that lets you leave a comment, that helps a lot. If you could like and subscribe to the YouTube, that works well. As always, we are going to have a component where you can watch on YouTube if you want to see the cards up in front of you. If you just want to listen to it in the car, you'll be able to from the audio alone. But if you're the person that likes to see the cards in front of you, we will have it up on our YouTube. And our YouTube, if you just search Holding Priority MTG or Holding Priority Podcast, it should be the first results. If you search Holding Priority, you'll find a lot of rules videos. So we're not up there yet, but Holding Priority Podcast, I believe, is like first result.
Yep. It's I think that brings you straight to us.
Yeah. And then just a reminder, we do have a link tree. We have a TCG Player affiliate link. If you're watching this and you're like, oh, dang, like I need that as a single, which, I mean, as a single is kind of the only way to get these right now for the most part, unless you pre-ordered or you're just lucky.
Yeah, lucky.
Yeah. So if you end up seeing anything and you're just like, oh, wow, I need that for my deck, which there are a couple in here, please use our TCG Player affiliate link. That helps us a lot. It's free for you and helps out the podcast a lot. Because of that link, we're able to upgrade to a soundboard, which clap for the soundboard. So if you guys like seeing improvements to the podcast, that is the best way to do it. And then also, we have a lot of social media. We do have a Discord, kind of just collecting people in the Discord right now. Every once in a while, if I see something that I'm like, okay, I want to bug people, like be a notification on somebody's phone, I will send some stuff. Not super active yet, but we've done a couple of cool brew builds with people. And if you're in that Discord, thank you so much. For the first couple of people that enter, we're going to try to make like special roles and badges and flares and all that stuff. And that stuff will still be available. So please. end up joining.
Yep, we may do some games as well. I know
Yeah,
I've been wanting to do that.
some spell table games when life kind of chills out for both of us.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into the card review. As always, just a reminder on our card rating scale, we do 1 to 5, only whole numbers. 1 is just I think it's neat. 2 is put it aside for later. 3 is might see some play. 4 is I know this will see play in a certain deck. 5 is this will be a strong add-in in any color deck the card can be run in. And then we have a force of will, 1 per review. We either mark the card as the best in the set or overturn someone else's rating if we don't agree. This is going to be kind of a short review. I think it's like only 30 cards in the set. So I already kind of have in mind what my force of will is going to be used on. So
I kind of do too.
Yeah.
There's one of two. The commanders didn't hold a lot of like heavy CEDH stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's some pretty good auto includes to certain things, but
yeah. And there are 8 commanders for the set. As always, we go over all 8 of them, whether they're good or not.
and they're always awesome.
Yeah. And speaking of that, let's jump in. So this is Celeste, Rune Knight, 1 generic, red, white, black, legendary creature, human wizard knight. When Celeste enters, discard any number of cards, then draw that many cards plus 1. Whenever one or other creatures you control enter, if one or more of them entered from the graveyard or was cast from a graveyard, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Celeste is a 4/4. Really, the only thing that kind of piques my interest about Celeste is its red, white, black, which is kind of a rare color combination in CDH. And then whenever it enters, you basically get to wheel your hand. And there's a lot of from the graveyard play, so it kind of enables itself. It just doesn't enable itself to a win, which is unfortunate. I have seen this played on a couple of the CDH channels, and the pilots did pretty well with it, but yeah, I don't know. I think if you wanted to play Celeste, you just must really, really like the red, white, black color pie. The commander itself, I mean, having a commander for 4 that just is a one-sided wheel is pretty good. Other than that, though, like this doesn't really like step out to me as like huge tournament contender.
I mean, it has some plays with Underworld Breach.
Yeah.
And it's in Savine's colors too, so you can, maybe Hail Mary for Savine's or something like that. But I don't know. Like this one, I've seen those videos too of the games.
Yeah.
It seems good at first glance, but I don't think that it has enough oomph to push through the noise, especially with heavy contenders like
Dargo Timna.
Timna. You have what is that other one? The not Magda. The Planeswalker. I can't think of her name.
Oh, Dahada. Yeah. I feel like this color combination is kind of figured out mostly for CDH commanders, which feels bad, but yeah, like it's kind of a strange color pie. I think if you're the type of person that just sees this and you're like, I really like this commander, I'm going to make it work. Like that, honestly, that's kind of how I've been with Hashaton, where I'm like, I really like this commander, I'm going to make it work. I know that he's not like tearing it up, but like I specifically have been tearing it up with him. So I think this could be the commander for you if you just kind of want to play meta.
I also think that this is one of the better out of the list.
Oh, definitely.
Like,
yeah.
To be honest, like we kind of hit with a heavy hitter.
Yeah.
But
there's only 1 in the 8 that I think is better.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, this one, it does the draw.
Yeah.
Who cares really about the 1/1 counters? I mean, maybe there's some kind of combo you can have with one, but I mean, really the draw is what you need.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
you potentially like ping the table with the the artifact creature that pings everybody when it gets a 1/1 counter.
Oh yeah, you're talking Ballista.
Yeah, like if you can loop a creature from a graveyard to the battlefield over and over and over, you could ballista the table to death. Like there's things like it's okay. Is it something that I'm just like, oh, this is crazy? No, like if somebody sat down at my pod and they were playing this, I'd just be like, oh, all right. Yeah, like which I mean the card advantage in red, white, black is pretty good.
So this is in colors for World Gorger. I mean, World Gorger is kind of a mid-win con.
What do you do with
Ballista is what I'm saying is if it has to come from the grave.
Yeah, so you want for World Dragon, your commander needs to be a mana outlet.
Ah, that's true.
So like you would basically World Gorger, you'd play Celeste, and then it'd be like, okay, well,
just mill your entire.
Yeah. Like,
yeah, you'd actually kill yourself.
Yeah. I mean, you could discard any number and draw that many cards plus 1. Oh, so yeah, even if you discard 0, you would die. Yeah.
I mean, you would still have the option of getting somebody else.
So you could always discard. So you could always just draw 1 and then be like, okay, I'm going to discard a creature so I can stop it. And then just go all the way to Underworld Breach. And I mean, there's combos in Underworld Breach and red, white, black. But
the issue I see, though, is like if this had blue in it,
yeah,
like you could go all the way down and then Thassa,
yeah,
and it works,
yeah.
But then you're also talking blue farm colors, right? And
well, I mean, to even start World Gorger Dragon, you kind of put your pants all the way down to your ankles. Like we had a friend that was playing a World Gorger Dragon deck, and very quickly he was just like, "Oh yeah, I take myself out of the game if I can't defend it." And he was in blue, so. I'll rate this one a 3. I mean, I think it's a cool option for somebody that wants to play these colors and likes what Celeste does. Like it's kind of a value commander.
I was gonna say a 2. But I think that a 3 is probably better. I could give you that.
Yeah, I think for people that want to play this, they'll be like great value in the command zone. Yeah.
And side note, I thought this was Beatrix from.
Oh yeah.
Final
Fantasy 9.
I pulled one Japanese, and I was like, I got Beatrix, and it wasn't Beatrix.
Cloud, X-Soldier. 2 generic, red, green, white. Legendary creature, human, soldier, mercenary. Haste. When Cloud enters, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to it. Whenever Cloud attacks, draw a card for each equipped attacking creature you control. Then if Cloud has power 7 or greater, create 2 treasure tokens. I'm just going to come out with my review right now. It's a 2. It's 5 cost. I feel like this red, green, white space is already pretty good. The fact that it has haste is cool, and it immediately gets an equipment to it. But I mean, it's a really good level 4 deck. Like for kitchen table commander, I think this is a lot of fun. For tournament play, I'd give it a 2.
I'm gonna argue that I don't even think you put it aside. I don't think there's a deck that's gonna need it. I just think it's neat.
Well, it's Cloud, so I'm gonna put it aside.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're a little bit heavy on it. I don't think that there's a deck that runs it. I mean,
I don't think this would ever be in the 99, really.
I don't think it's in the really. And then if you pull up and you're playing CEDH with this card, I mean, you might be able to get to do some shenanigans because nobody's really going to care what you're doing.
the mono white Cloud is way better.
Way better. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And the issue though is that this color combo is kind of rough.
Yeah. Like Rocco, in my opinion, is the best.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah,
I would agree. Or no, I think you're right. I think that's it. I was gonna say some common partner, but I don't think
Jetmir is not terrible. Balin's not good anymore with no dockside, and I mean, even when I took that to 2 or 3 tournaments in a week, I just really regretted doing it.
I mean, even with dockside, let's say we're in a fantasy world and there's Dockside. I don't think that Dockside helps this much at all either.
I'm consistently at the top table in a lot of our tournaments that we've gone to recently, and like consistently top 16, top 4, and I was literally at bottom table with Balin every single match.
I remember we were.
It hurt.
I mean, you at the same instance, you were having fun.
Yeah, I was having
Playing.
fun. Yeah, like lots of playing, lots of networking. It was a fun experience. Would it have been more fun if I won? Oh, definitely.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, at least contended.
Yeah.
With the tops. I mean, I don't see the world where this card is more than a 1.
Yeah.
And then, meh.
I'll force a will. Make it a 2. No,
Make it 2.
So that is Cloud EX Soldier or X Soldier.
It is Cloud.
Yeah. Oh man, Grahatia Scion Reborn. So it's spelled G. I don't even know what that symbol is. It's not an ampersand. Contraction.
What?
The symbol after the G. I forgot the name of it. Yeah. So it's G.
It's not apostrophe, huh?
I thought the apostrophe was like the thing below the semicolon on the. We'll just say apostrophe. And if we're wrong, we're wrong.
Yeah,
So G
put in the
apostrophe.
comments.
Yeah. RAHA. Grahatia Scion Reborn.
Rahatia.
Yeah. White, blue, black, legendary creature, cat wizard. So cat wizard already 2 out.
It's a
base 2 out of 5. Lifelink, throw wide the gates. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may pay X life, where X is that spell's mana value. If you do, create a 1/1 colorless hero creature token and put X 1/1 counters on this. Do this only once each turn. It's a 2/3. So that effect is not great. And the fact that you can only do it once each turn makes it even worse. I guess you could like Displacer Kitten it and loop a spell to get a whole bunch of 1/1 hero tokens, but then you'd still have to figure out how to gain life, and it's just not.
This might be a ballista thing. Pay X life. You could just shoot the table, but you don't have enough to kill the table.
Well, you put it on the 1/1 hero creature token.
Oh, that's true.
So you don't even. Yeah, I'm gonna.
I was like,
this is the one. Like I don't. I'm trying to be a.
You don't want to discuss it another time? No.
I don't. Like
no, I think you're right. I think it's a 1.
Yeah.
I think that it's kind of cool that's a cat wizard, but other than that, I don't see anything.
And that's why I think it's neat, because it's a cat wizard. And also we have to review it if it's one of the commanders. Like I make the rules, but we do have to review it. Now this is the one set that I was like, maybe I break this rule. Like I don't like these. Like
honorable mentions to Esper. There's a couple of really good Esper or possible good Esper commanders in this set. Mm-hmm. This isn't one of them.
Yeah. Terra, Herald of Hope, red, white, black, legendary creature, human wizard warrior. At the beginning of combat on your turn, mill 2 cards. Terra gains flying until end of turn. When Terra deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 2. When you do, return target creature card with power 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Terra is a 3/3.
I'm rating this as 0 because it's Terra and it's not the good one, and I thought I had the good one.
I'm gonna give it a 1. Like if you're in these colors and you want to run a Final Fantasy commander, the other one is much better. That other one being Celeste Rune Knight. I'd forgot the name already.
Yeah, I think she's way better. I think that this one is kind of lackluster. I mean, it doesn't do enough for being a commander.
Anytime I see whenever X deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 2. It's like, it's hard enough to get in. You know, like the fact that I have to swing with this creature, get in with this creature, and then once I get in, pay 2 is not the greatest. All you do is basically return a ranger captain, I guess, over and over. And I mean, Squall already does that minus red. Yeah, I don't.
Meh.
Not a fan. I think the artwork's really cool.
It is.
I'll
Terra.
give it that. Yeah. Yep. I'll give it a 1.
I'm with a 1.
All right, 1 for Terra, Herald of Hope. And if it seems like we're running through these, it's mostly if there's not really a lot to discuss on them. I want to save discussion time for like the better cards. So.
Yeah, there's a couple of them that have a lot of more depth to them. These are kind of surface level, and they're just kind of in front of the box. I think is kind of what's happening.
Titus, Yuna's Guardian, green, white, blue, legendary creature, human warrior. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may move a counter from target creature you control onto a second target creature you control. Cheer, whenever one or more creatures you control with counters on them deal combat damage to a player, you may draw a card and proliferate. Do this only once each turn. Titus is a 3/3. Meh.
Is he in the colors for is it Tyam?
No, time is green, white, black. This is banned. So
I keep thinking that it's that.
Yeah, I mean, if I was running Butterflower is her name, Bumbleflower.
Maybe
I'd be a little bit more excited about Titus as like a secondary commander because she puts 1/1 counters on things and flies, and I really liked Miss Bumbleflower. I won a couple games with her, but I'd be really scared to bring Bumbleflower to a tournament.
I mean, this one here, it's lackluster, and I think that you could, even if you're wanting something similar, there's better cards in the 99 that would do similar or better.
Yeah.
And meh.
The other thing is, where does Titus enable himself?
Yeah,
he doesn't. It's whenever you start to get those counters, you can move him around and you can start drawing cards and proliferating, but he himself has no way to enable his own abilities, which, I mean, 1/1 counters aren't too hard to put on things, but I mean, if he had a pay 8 at a 1/1 counter to something, I'd be like, oh, okay, like mana dump commander, like that's actually better. Yeah.
I mean, with him, like there's commanders like Atraxa, which, I mean, we don't even really see her get played that often.
Yeah.
And that's way better than this. It proliferates, I think, just every turn.
Yeah. I mean, like, this could be a fun tier 4 kitchen table CDH commander, but I think it would take too long to get going in a tournament. So I'm going to give this a 1.
I think maybe if you're sitting kitchen table and you're playing, Final Fantasy commanders, maybe.
Yeah.
But I'm with a 1.
Yeah. All right. Tifa, martial artist. 1 generic, red, green, white, legendary creature, human monk. Tifa has melee. Whenever this creature attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each opponent you attack this combat. Whenever one or more creatures you control with power 7 or greater deal combat damage to a player, untap all creatures you control. If it's the first combat phase of the turn, there is an additional combat phase after this phase, 4/4. So if you attack all of your opponents in a commander game, Tifa immediately becomes a 7/7. And then if Tifa connects, you get a second combat. Unfortunately, you can't flicker Tifa or do anything to trick the game to make you think that your second combat's your first combat. So at most, you're getting 2 combats from Tifa, and then you still have to connect with your buffed up power 7 creature to get the second combat.
I do think that you could wipe a person with 2 combats, so with her. But I mean, if your board is that big.
But for her to enable herself, you need to swing at everyone. Yeah. And I mean, we know that combat commanders are just not good. Like when Winota is cracked as far as like combat shenanigans, and like we don't even see Winota very often. So.
That's true. And I think it's the color combo too. It's a similar problem with the previous one.
Yeah, I'll give this a 1. I'm not gonna even pretend like it's good. Like
I think it's a 5. No, it's a 1.
And like another one where it's like if you want to play like kitchen table, like 4 untimed, like just play until somebody goes to 0 life. Like I think this is pretty good, but tournament play, no,
it won't hold up.
Yeah. This is Yashodel. Y'shtola, Knights Blessed.
I thought you did good the first time. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I've heard people like say this name, so I was like, that's not right. Y'shtola, Knights Blessed, one generic, white, blue, black, legendary creature, cat, warlock, vigilance. At the beginning of each end step, if a player lost 4 or more life this turn, draw a card. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell with mana value 3 or greater, Y'shtola deals 2 damage to each opponent and you gain 2 life. It's 2/4. Just for a commander that just pings the entire table, VV is much better, but VV is blue-red. Y'shtola is Esper, which we already know is a really good color combination. Your opponents have to be wary of how much life they're losing to their own effects or dishing out to other players, because you potentially could draw a card every turn with Y'shtola. I think people are kind of looking at Y'shtola as a stacks Esper commander and just kind of like draw, ping the table out. With Vivi being in this set, I think that if you're going to try to play that style, you're probably playing Vivi. But this is a cool commander where you're like, I want to play that style. I want to be more controlly and stacksy. And I still want to be able to Thassa out, like if I stack the table like too high. I don't think that Y'shtola is going to have legs to where it's going to be a commander that we see when this set is like gone and forgotten. I think Vivi will still be a commander then. Even though like Vivi is kind of, if it trips, it just falls and it's done. Yeah.
I mean, I agree too. I think having Esper gives it a little, but the problem with this commander is that you have combos already that do this. And once they start, you don't need her.
Yeah.
So, like, let's say you'd run Teferi line. Same scenario. Absolutely don't need her.
The other problem too for me is she's 4. So like by the time I can get something out that's 1 generic and 3 different costs, I kind of don't care if I'm like replacing my card draw often. It's interesting. Like you can play a Force of Will for free and then do 2 damage to everybody and gain 2 life. Like it's got interesting things with it. I would say out of the 8, it's the best one. But even still, I'm only going to give it a 3 personally.
Yeah, I could see a 3. I think the Esper has a lot going for it. The issue though, like I said, is let's say you go, is it Blind Obedience that does the combo with Extort? Once you start doing that, like you don't even have to pay or have to play a mana cost of 4. You just run through whatever your combo is.
And I've seen this card played a couple times on some of the CDH channels. It just seems really slow. I did like someone played it with I want to say Atraxa, the black, pure black Shieldred.
Yeah.
And that was kind of cool to see people like immediately take 2 damage, and then if they took 2 damage during their turn, they'd have to draw a card, or like if they drew an extra card, you'd draw a card. It has some interesting synergy with it, but I think it's too slow to really see like tournament success.
I agree. I think a 3 is a solid place for it. I think that I don't think that it can go in the 99 to really help anything. You're definitely not going to play this over really any of your Esper good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, even in Hashaton, to where I could potentially cheat it out, like I don't
You don't
care.
want that.
Yeah,
you want Jenga Taxis or something of that nature. It doesn't have enough oomph, and the oomph you get from a monocolored with Hashaton is just so much better. Or
yeah, just a big ol' thing. I like that this Commander exists for people that want to play this style of deck. That's why I like it. But I think if you're playing this style of deck, you're already saying like, I don't care if I'm consistently like top 16 and top 4. Like if I can pilot this so well that I'm constantly in the top, like that's an extra feather in my cap. Yeah.
I could see that.
Which is like kind of where I'm at with Hashaton, where I'm like taking not a lot of people think he's a not great commander up to like top 16, top 4, like pretty often. Like, will people figure him out eventually? I don't know, but like,
I mean, I think that's a sweet spot. Not to go off on a tangent for you, but I think that it's a sweet spot for Hashton if he stays in that shadow.
Yeah,
because like it's a solid commander.
Locally, people are scared of Hashton when I roll up to a table.
Yeah,
so,
you go in with the best of them. I mean, what your top 4 the last time was Blue Farm. I want to say Magda.
Blue Farm, Magda, and the Stacks commander that you were talking about. Yeah, Tyam. Which I mean, Tyam immediately was just like, let's shut him down. And then Magda was like, yes, let's. And then what?
But I mean, that sweet spot of Hashton, he does kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah. It's like, don't worry. He's not out. He's not out on the field. And it's like, oh, he's farmed a bunch. It's like, and now I'm dropping him, and now I'm dropping Razaketh. I'm going to do this crazy combo, and you're dead.
Yeah, with this one's no Hashton. My issue with commanders like this is, do you play this over Hashton? Do you play this over Tivit? Do you play this over Marnius?
Yeah, and I mean, if the answer is yes, because I like the style of deck, then great. You know, like you're going to do best with a commander that you understand and you like. If you want to play a little bit Staxier of an Esper build, like I would say probably just do Staxier Tivit, honestly. But if you really like if this speaks to you, I think you can go in and do well with it. I just don't think it's one of those commanders that I look at and I'm just like, this is great, you know?
Yeah. No, I think a solid 3 is probably more than it should have. I think that I don't think it'll go over that.
All right, that's a 3 for Y'shtola. And this is the last of the face commanders. Yuna, Grand Summoner. 1 generic, green, white, blue. Legendary creature, human cleric. Has the ability Grand Summon. Tap, add 1 mana of any color when you next cast a creature spell this turn. That creature enters with 2 additional 1/1 counters on it. Whenever another permanent you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, if it had 1 or more counters on it, you may put that number of 1/1 counters on target creature. It's a 1/5. I think that Sisay is kind of moving a little bit more into the like 1/1 counter space with Final Fantasy. I know that some people just have not cared because they're like, well, I'll Deadpool and then have Deadpool be a base 5/4 and then get Sissy's passive and just get way up there and just tutor everything out. Yuna costs 4 and it's 3 colors.
Yeah.
Which is good for Sisay, but like still hard to get out.
I mean, if you had a choice of this and Derevi.
Yeah, Derevi. Always getting Derevi.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't give multiple mana.
Yeah.
And the 2/1/1 counters, I mean, there's a scenario where that happens, but the scenario where I put out a Bloom Tender is a lot better. Mm-hmm. I mean,
yeah, I mean, like the one where it's like, oh, whenever another permanent you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you can move counters is pretty good if you're doing like Sisay lines where you like chain up with Sisay to, well, I mean, even Deadpool doesn't become Sisay, so you wouldn't sack Sisay. It just wouldn't have any abilities. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that running Zac is good from the Final Fantasy set in Sisay, but I don't see a place for Yuna, and I definitely don't see a place for Yuna as a standalone.
No, I don't think it's, I mean, you don't play this over Derevi.
Yeah. I'll give it a 1.
1 is probably there. Maybe a 2 because it is a mana
A 4-cost 1/5 mana dork.
that puts 2/1/1 counters.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
Yeah.
I would say put it aside for later. Maybe it does something, but it's just too much to do it. If it was green, blue, colorless, I mean, maybe.
I was expecting them to lean a lot more into the saga creatures with Yuna. I'm a little disappointed that they just made her like fairly generic. Like I would have loved a completely cracked like saga creature commander, which I mean there aren't very many, but like if we could have gotten a like really crazy saga creature commander, that would have been a lot of fun. Like I think the casual community would have liked it. I don't think it would have been so strong enough for CDH just because of the lack of cards.
Not in these colors. I mean, you
Like
get the Mogs.
You'd have to make it 5 color for it to be even playable. Yeah.
Yeah, and then even then, it's not enough.
Yeah. I mean, I just think it's good for the fantasy of like, I want to play Yuna and I want to just pretend like I'm pooping out summons onto the field, and like that's not really the case here, you know, unfortunately. Which I mean, you can get an extra mana for a summon, and then the summon will come with one more 1/1/1 counters, and then whenever you have to sacrifice, you can move them around, and it's just not as good as I would have hoped. Now you could have even added like put 2/1/1 counters on it, and it gets haste, and this still would not have been great. You know, like,
No, I was thinking maybe Animar, but I don't think it's in the colors.
no, because Animar is green, red, blue. So yeah,
it's kind of lackluster. I'm gonna give it a 1.
Yeah. I mean, I guess.
Well, a 2.
Yeah, I was about to say like for a mana dork, I don't know, a 4-cost mana dork. Like I can't imagine that I would ever need a 4-cost mana dork. But...
Yeah, I mean the ability for counters to get moved around, maybe, but I don't know what world that's in, to be honest. I
see it maybe somewhere down the line doing something, but it's not good right now. And if it is good now, and you know that it's good and how it's good, let me know. Put that in the comments. Get in the Discord and just be like, y'all are fools. Yeah. Play me. Like let's spell table tonight. Like I'd love that.
Somebody does it, it's all lands. It's like
haha, wasted your time. That is a 2 for Yuna Grand Summoner.
Yeah.
Now we're moving into the cards that are actually picked to be somewhat decent discussion for CDH. It only took us 37 minutes to get through those 8 cards.
Not too bad.
Oron, Venerated Guardian, 3 generic white, legendary creature, human spirit samurai, vigilance. Shooting Star, when Oron attacks, put a 1/1 counter on it. When you do, exile target creature defending player controls with power less than Oron's power until Oron leaves the battlefield. So it's when he declares an attack. So again, Winota doesn't get that whenever he just comes in. What I'm curious about is why is he a spirit samurai? That doesn't make any sense. He looks like a normal dude.
I think in 10 he was a ghost.
He was dead all along. Yeah, he was a memory from the far plane.
I mean, I
spoiler
never played
alert,
it.
but yeah, him and Titus were both just memories that were implanted. That's why he always wore the glasses, because his like eyes were messed up to where you would know that he was a.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I mean, I never played 10. I remember watching. I think maybe you play it, or maybe Tony.
I was about to say I played it 20 years ago. I think at this point. So, yeah. Like I might be wrong, but yeah. I mean, just a 2/5 vigilance 4-cost creature that just starts picking your opponent's creatures away. And it's based on power, so it's not even like mana value. Seems pretty good. It gets bigger the more you attack with it, and it has vigilance. For 4, it's a little bit expensive, but for a 4-cost, this is what I would want to see is like, okay, well, I attack, it's a 3/6, and this thing's gone. And it's gone until Oron like leaves.
I was gonna say that too. I was like, it'd be better if he was like 2 or 3, but even then, like, I get it.
Yeah.
Like the 1/1 counter on him, the exile and stuff, like it needs to be 4.
And human and samurai are both very relevant. Samurai is more relevant in red right now, but I mean, it's a pretty good card for 4. It does what I would want to see a 4 cost do. Like, can get in, can help you get things in, grows over time, becomes a problem.
And he stays able to block.
Yeah, and the other thing that I like is, like, let's say someone has like a Dothy Void Walker out, or like let's say somebody has an op agent out, and I'm like, no, like I need this op agent gone. You can take op agent with Auron and then just be like, hey guys, like if you remove Auron, just remember that op agent comes back. So like if you want me to keep this away, keep Auron here. Or if somebody starts winning and you want to just suddenly have an op agent out, just swords my Auron and we'll be fine. Like we'll just take their stuff.
I could see it being a good politic piece.
Yeah. Or you could just pick on one person and just take all of their stuff, and the other two people would be like, well, I don't really want to return that. Like, I will give Auron a 3.
I was solid 3. Yeah.
I don't know where he goes. I think he's just generically good typing. The vigilance is really strong. Maybe it goes in Tyam as a like piece to kind of remove things that would stop it. I think 3 is pretty fair.
I think it's solid. I like the little O-ring cards. I
Yeah.
think they're interesting. This one puts it on attack, which is
Yeah.
I don't like you said. I don't think it goes in Winota.
Yeah, not even whenever you connect. It's just Auron attacks. This thing is just gone. Like deal with it. Like
yeah. And maybe there is a world where you play it in Winota, and then the next turn you start removing.
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, or like let's say you have it, and I don't think it's good enough to go in Blue Farm, but like you're just like I want to get in my deck. I want to get through with Tymna consistently. Like I'm mostly just gonna farm and then attack. You could put Auron in and just be like, that thing that's stopping me from getting through, it's gone. Declare blockers now.
Yeah, just blink it out.
Yeah. So that is a 3 for Auron, Venerated Guardian. Dancer's Chakrams. This is 3 generic white artifact equipment. Job select. Whenever it enters, create a 1/1 colorless hero creature token, then attach this to it. Equipped creature gets +2/+2. Has lifelink, and other commanders you control get +2/+2 and have lifelink. And then the hero or the equipped creature is a performer in addition to its other types, and you can equip for 3. So at default, you cast this for 4. You get a 3/3 hero token that has lifelink, and then if your commander's out, your commander is +2/+2 and has lifelink, which seems pretty good. There's a lot of decks, like I will say Hashaton is one where Hashaton himself, like I usually want to clear the field, but I can't go any higher than 3 or than 2 because of Hashaton. And there's also a lot of times where I'm like, dang, I spent all of my life on all of my effects. I don't have any more life, so I'm kind of done. Yeah. To be able to kind of lifelink back into the game would be pretty cool. Is it worth a spot in Hashaton? I probably am not. Is it worth a spot in Blue Farm? Probably not. I don't really think that you care about Crom having lifelink and being bigger, but
Not particularly. What I was looking at this for is this is a passive ability on an artifact, and it's an artifact. Maybe Tivit? I mean,
so the only thing is it has to be equipped for your other commanders to get +2/+2 and lifelink.
well, it comes in equipped though.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, let's say somebody like pings your 1/1, the effect would just go away.
That's true, but I mean, I could also use it as sack fodder too.
Yeah.
I mean, is it good to just be sack fodder?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, because there's really good things that I sacrifice, and
Yeah, the main reason I put this in was mostly for Heliod because
I can see that too.
just lifelink is good in Heliod, but you wouldn't really want to equip this to anything else. So I mean, even in Heliod, I guess it's not great. I think it has places. Where those places are, not too sure.
It sounds like a put it aside for later card.
Yeah, that's why I was literally looking at the rating scale and I was like, I'm gonna give it a 2, but I just think it's cool, and if I'm making a deck where my life matters, it's definitely going to be something I consider every time.
Oh, you're gonna want to know that there's a card that automatically buffs your commander.
Yeah.
Comes in equipped.
And then also, like, if you're playing partner commanders, like,
No, you get two.
good. Yeah.
That's
like,
crazy.
Imagine, like, I don't think there's any deck where, like, Rograth is in white right now. But, like, you could have a 2/3 menace, whatever abilities. Like, he has, like, keyword soup, but he has 0 attack. So, like, you could have a lifelink menace, whatever, Rog. Which is kind of fun, but
What colors is the Jessica and the Jessica beat 'em up commander?
oh, Jessica Ishkai, that's a white, blue, red.
So maybe
Yeah, just get this. That deck kind of just does like
it does its thing.
All commanders, and the rest is counters and protection for Ishai, I think. Yeah.
I don't know. I was just throwing something out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's generically good, and that's why I'm not really like registering any like, oh, this is great. You know?
Again, I think this is one of the cards that if you've looked at this and you're like, this is it, tell us where.
Yeah, but
Because
yeah,
we know it's good.
Yeah, I'll give Dancer's Chakrams a 2 as well.
2 is solid.
Yeah. Heidegger, Shinra Executive. 3 generic white. Legendary creature, human soldier. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gets X+0 until end of turn, where X is the number of soldiers you control. At the beginning of your end step, create a number of 1/1 white soldier creature tokens equal to the number of opponents who control more creatures than you. This just seems good. Like in an aristocrat deck where you sack all of your stuff away, you could potentially get 3 more things back on your end step and then sack them away again.
I think he'd be kind of silly with Myro.
With who?
Myro. She's the I think it's soldiers. I might be wrong.
Oh,
it's like soldier artifacts or something.
The white commander that's basically like
it's Grand Abolisher, but
like possibly in the command zone.
Yeah, and it also creates soldiers.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that he's I think you hit it. Anything that cares about going wide, I think that he's solid.
Yeah, so I originally, whenever I selected this card, I thought Marnius was a soldier, but he's a warrior that makes warrior tokens.
That's funny.
Yeah. The other thing that we were talking about was this automatically gets Sisei to 5 because you put Sisei out, you get this out next turn. It itself buffs Sisei 2. No, 1. Well, no, Sisei's a soldier, right?
I think so.
Yeah, so it buffs Sisei.
Whether light soldier or something.
Yeah, so
like captain.
Buffs Sisei 1 because it's white, and then 2 because it's a soldier and Sisei is a soldier. So like potentially you could kind of surprise the table and be like, yeah, Sisei's big. Boom. Yeah.
The only issue I have with that is when you're starting to care about Sisei's power and toughness,
you need like a Manadoric or
if I'm paying 4, there's a lot better stuff to get out.
Yeah.
Like Ragavan is 1. You know, just putting Ragavan out, it's a 1/1 counter. And then, you know, Lotho is 2, so it's like
this is just good because it's 3 generic white. So like you could use Soul Ring mana for it.
Guess.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, it's I think it's put it aside. I think you want to know of any cards that poop out more little guys.
Yeah.
And give a bonus.
Yeah.
And he this one does it.
Yeah. I mean, soldiers are pretty relevant in CDH, like humans and soldiers. So it's a 2 for me as well.
Yeah, I think that I mean, creatures you control get X. X is the number of soldiers. So I think that this has a combo with, I can't think of the one cost mini Ristic. I can't think of its name. I'm having trouble.
Oh, Mystic Remora?
No, it's the white. It's the little guy.
Ether.
No, it's there's somebody screaming at the podcast.
I know what you're talking about.
Well, I play it all the time. You
Yeah.
find it in Lord help. We play
Yeah.
CEDH.
Yeah.
We play it a lot. No, I can't think of the name of it, man.
I
It's
was
the
like,
little white guy that comes out.
it was funny because I'm like,
Cat.
you fool, it's Esper Sentinel.
Esper
Like,
Sentinel.
but I was like, Ether something. Yeah.
I think Esper Sentinel's a soldier, so it comes out as a 3.
I just pulled it out. Let's
You
see.
cheated.
Human soldier, yeah.
So then he's. Do you draw for his toughness or for his?
For his power.
I think it's his power too. So you put him out. It's automatically.
Well,
a
it's at the
4?
beginning of combat, so people would have the ability in your main one to just
Oh,
burn their spell. Yeah,
blah.
yeah,
No,
I know.
no. I thought it was like a general like plus X.
No, it's specifically triggers when you move to combat.
That's poop. Never mind. I think it's a 2.
Yeah, it's a 2. I think it's a pretty interesting 2, but it's definitely a 2 for Heidegger Shinra Executive.
Maybe you can make politics and be like, hey, you can only cast spells during.
Yeah. Well, let's make a deal. So on my next turn,
No. 2 is solid.
this one is Tataru Taru, 1 generic white, legendary creature, dwarf advisor. When Tataru Taru enters, you may draw a card and a target opponent may draw a card. Scion's Secretary. Whenever an opponent draws a card, if it isn't that player's turn, create a tapped treasure token. This ability triggers only once each turn. It's a 0/3 blocker that can block Tymna and not let Tymna get through. It's a 2 cost for that big of a butt, which is pretty nice. And then on top of it, if people are just drawing cards willy-nilly, you pretty much get 3 tapped treasure tokens whenever you pass the turn with it. Like it can very quickly refund its own mana in treasure tokens, which is pretty cool. And it's a legendary creature too, which I didn't realize. So I was just like, oh, this is pretty good in Sisei.
It's a Sisei card.
Yeah.
It's also, I think, a Tivit card.
Yeah.
I think that anything that gives you treasure tokens, be it tapped or not, and just kind of punishes for drawing, like, I think this is good. I think that this is probably, I don't know if it's a 5. Maybe it's close to a 5.
Well, there's also that blue black guy that every time an artifact enters, you surveil. So could you imagine 3 artifacts and 3 surveil triggers on your opponent's turn? Like, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a thing.
Yeah.
I think this is a good one.
Which it only makes the tap treasure token once, regardless of how many people draw outside of their turn. So like,
isn't
at max when you pass, you'd get 3.
Are you like it wouldn't do every other person? Like let's say player 1, 2, and 3 draw.
Well, this ability triggers only once each turn. So if it triggers on one opponent, it would not trigger on the next one because it specifically says this ability triggers only once each turn. But still, like potentially 3 tap treasure tokens after you pass, which is pretty good.
I think it is a lot of value for 2. I think it's probably like a 4.
Yeah, it's a 4. You definitely want something needs to be relevant out of this card. Like you want to be farming, you want to have extra mana, you want to have a legendary creature. I'm really glad that they didn't print this in red, like because it's Magda cares about dwarfs, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like that would suck. It seems good. I mean, I'd probably replace the guy that draws every time an opponent searches with this, maybe, depending on my playstyle.
I don't know. Maybe Archivist. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I think Archivist is still a little better because of the flash.
Yeah. The fact that you can have Tymna swing at you and then just flash it in and block and kill Tymna is like really good.
I mean, this also does that in a way because there's no Tymna that's going to get through.
Yeah, but it
doesn't gain life.
It's a difference between flashing in and killing it, and then this person has a 0/3. I'm not going to swing at them. Like,
So kind of a silly question. Would Delney let this trigger twice?
Um,
I'm not real sure because maybe because it would trigger the same at the same time.
I don't. I think it would still only be one because this specifically says the ability only triggers once each turn. So like I think Delny is. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to ask a judge about that. I believe you'd only get one still because it says this ability triggers only once each turn.
Yeah, I get it. I think that this is a 4 for sure. I think the fact that we're able to have decent conversation about it makes it a little bit in the limelight.
Yeah.
If you,
This is my force of will card, honestly. Like
it
just
is.
how versatile it is, which I mean also kind of tells you the rest of the set is but like
I get it though.
yeah.
I mean, I see it. I wouldn't force this one, but this was on my list of like 2 that I would force will.
Yeah, the other one is much less relevant for the decks I play, so I was just like I'll just give you that one. Like
Yeah, I figured.
but yeah, I'll give a 4 and a force of will for Tataru Taru.
I agree that it could be a strong ad in any deck that can play it.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to force another one, but we're
Yeah.
okay with that.
Lulu, Stern Guardian, 2 generic blue, legendary creature, human, wizard. Whenever an opponent attacks you, choose target creature attacking you. Put a stun counter on that creature. And then it has 3 generic blue, proliferate for a 2/3. I just like that it's proliferate on a creature for 4. Like if you go infinite mana, you could just proliferate, which, what does that do? Gives planeswalkers all of their ultimate abilities, and like
Yeah, maybe.
it's pretty good. I mean, it's a 2/3 for 2 generic and a blue. And it's also cool. It's like, okay, whenever an opponent attacks you, choose target creature attacking you, put a stun counter on that creature. Like when you put Lulu out, for the most part, I think people are going to want to not attack you because they'll be like, well, I can attack this person, but like if I'm not going all in on them, they're just gonna stun the creature that's coming in.
Then
Ugh.
I can't
Yeah.
block. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that it's decent. I think there's clearly some issues with it, but a mana dump for 4 that proliferates, there's win cons there
Yeah.
somewhere.
Well, I mean, there's that new blue card that is give all of your opponents a poison counter, draw a card. So if you've played that at any point in the game and you go infinite mana, you're just like, okay, I win.
Yeah, I win.
Like
Yep. I think this is a solid 3.
yeah,
I don't know. I don't think that it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna see play. Like I don't think I know where this is gonna see play. I think that it might see somewhere.
yeah. If I could give it a 2.5, I would. But I think 3 is fair. Like it's something that I would keep in my CDH box if I pulled it, and I would strongly consider it if I was a deck that didn't want people hitting me. Yeah.
I mean, I was gonna put it as a 2 as well, but you kind of won me over when you were like, if it has infinite mana.
Yeah.
So even if it's not in the command zone, this could be a finisher in, say, like Kennen or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's the card? I don't know.
Yeah.
Does it make it better? I have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like that poison counter is just a pretty playable card to begin with. So
I think it's pretty solid.
just putting that poison counter on everybody and then knowing, like, I have Lulu in my deck. If I get her and I can go infinite mana, I just kill everybody. Like, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, or I just proliferate some of my silly.
Yeah. Or she just comes out and she's a 2/3 and it makes everybody not want to attack me because it's like, okay, well, I'll swing at you with Timna. It's like, cool, that Timna is not untapping your next turn. They're like, oh, yeah, maybe I don't do that. Because you choose, like, let's say you swing with Voice of Victory and you swing with the 1/1 things at me too. I can just go like, well, I want Voice of Victory to stay tapped. Like, those things you're going to sack at end of turn. They can stay untapped.
Yeah.
She does have a little bit of synergy with another card as well, so I kind of put them both in this.
Okay, I'm down. A 3 is what we're saying.
3 for Lulu. And then this is Riku, Resourceful Guardian, 2 generic blue, legendary creature, Human Artificer. When you put 1 or more counters on a creature, until end of turn, that creature can't be blocked by creatures your opponents control. So you could... well, never mind. That doesn't work. Because it has to swing at you for Lulu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, never mind. I have a different synergy in mind for this card, though. So Riku, Resourceful Guardian, also has the ability Steal, 1 tap, move a counter from target creature an opponent controls onto target creature you control, activate only as a sorcery. It's a 2/3. So the reason I think that this card is pretty good is because of Bowmaster. So I could make a deal and go, hey, I am going to put a counter on your giant Bowmaster. Let's do that.
Oh yeah.
Like you have to move a counter from target creature and opponent controls on a target creature you control too. So you could take a counter from somebody's Bowmaster and be like, this thing is unblockable now. Like which is cool that you can be like, oh, someone's playing Bowmaster. Well, for 1 and a tap, I can make my stuff bigger and unblockable.
I like it. It's kind of silly. I think that it's the only downside really is kind of that it's in mono blue. I think there's other colors that would really enjoy this type of ability.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you could force a counter onto somebody's big giant Bowmaster, you also could just work with that guy and be like, hey, that's an 18/18. This guy has 19 health. If I put a counter on it, will you swing? I can make it unblockable.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the politic cards are always nice.
Yeah.
I think for me, this one would be put it aside. I don't know what deck it really goes in. But, I mean, that's probably just my knowledge is a little bit shaky.
Yeah, it's interesting. I just like that if there's a Bowmaster at the table, you're just like, oh, okay, I can start taking from that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, just taking the little one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. Do they come in with 1/1 counters?
Yeah. So it's a 0/0 army token that gets 1/1 counters.
That's interesting. I always thought that it just went up.
You could also, like, let's say somebody is trying to do one of the pot combos where they put a 1/1 counter, it gets the ability. You could, with Riku, just be like, no, I'm going to take that 1/1 counter before you can untap that thing again. Gimme, now your combo is done. Yeah, like this would be great if we were still playing against Francisco's Thrasios. Yeah,
yeah, I could see that for sure.
Would I put a card in just to stop that type of combo? Probably not. So I think this is going to stay at 2, but I like that it interacts with one of the most popular cards in the format. I like that you can take the 1/1 counters from the Orc army. I'm sure there's other things you can do with it. You could make a deck around it. I just think it's neat, really, but I would put it aside for later, personally.
I think knowing that this is here is good to kind of have in your...
Oh, wait. You can only activate Steal as a sorcery, so you couldn't disrupt combos with it.
Yeah, I mean...
So, yeah, it would literally just be Orcish Bowmaster value. So.
Yeah, I think it's still at a 2.
Yeah.
I think that it kind of pushes it closer to a 1, but closer isn't there, so I think it's a solid 2.
Yeah, I wish me drawing a card would count as me putting a counter on the Orc army, but doesn't work like that. This next one, Espers to... Oh, did we rate Riku? I gave Riku a 2.
I did too.
Okay, cool. Espers to Magicite. 3 generic black is an instant. Exile each opponent's graveyard. When you do, choose up to 1 target creature card exiled this way. Create a token that's a copy of that card, except it's an artifact and loses all other card types. Like, imagine holding this until somebody targets like a op agent for a revive, and then you're just like, no, everybody exile. All of my opponents exile their graveyard, and also I have a token artifact that is an op agent, and it loses all of their abilities. So you gotta bounce it to my hand or destroy an artifact to get rid of this effect. Like that's kind of game ending, you know, like I feel like if you get this card off, especially if you get it off in a good time, you're probably tying that game more likely than not.
I think it's different than some of the cards we've seen.
Yeah.
Um,
And 4 for this effect is a lot, you know, to hold on to. But I mean, also you could make a orcish bowmaster artifact, and we know how good orcish bowmaster artifacts
for
are.
sure.
So
Yeah,
like,
for sure. Also, there's some. Oof, what else would be? Because there's a lot of things that would benefit just becoming an artifact.
oh yeah, yeah,
I mean, this has a lot of sneaky plays
yeah,
and telegraphed. Honestly,
yeah,
I think that if you played this at your pod, nobody would know what's going on at first.
and also it's not bad if, let's say, blue farm is starting their turn and they throw a silence out, then you're like, okay, well, you know, a lot of the times when there's a silence, it's like, well, I have a counter, I can stop the silence, but like, are we able to fight after the silence? Yeah, I'll counter the silence, but you know, this is it. At least with Espers to Magicite, you can be like, okay, well, they're throwing a counter on the stack. I'll throw Espers to Magicite on the stack. Like, maybe we can let the silence go through. I'd prefer we fight it, but even if we let it go through, I'm just taking everything and getting an op agent, you know? Like,
Yeah, good luck winning.
yeah.
I think that the fact that it exiles all opponents' graveyards kind of puts it over the top. I think
Yeah.
it's a 3. I think this might be an unsung hero.
And like, let's say they have something crazy in their graveyard too. Like, ooh, like
Jinga Taxis.
yeah, like I wheel a lot of my opponent's graveyards, and I do that for Mnemonic Betrayal, so I wouldn't really want to Espers to Magicite in my deck. But I mean, it's still a really good card that is very relevant in our format. Just getting rid of somebody's graveyard. Like Tyam plays with a lot of graveyard shenanigans. Like it's pretty good.
I think it would be a 3 or a 2. I'm with either or. I think for now it's a put it aside because I don't know how good it's going to be in the field, so to speak.
Yeah, I think it's generically good. Like I would say, I really wish it was 2 black because Kirik would love this. You know,
I also think like a 2 in general would be just insane with this.
I mean, Rowan would love this. Rowan could cast it for black. Like it's good. It's a lot better if you don't have to pay 4. But I mean, even at 4, it's okay. I guess this game ends in a tie instead of me losing right now, right here. Like,
Yeah, I mean, you could also play it to where you force the tie. Where
yeah,
you're like, look, if you cast anything, I'm doing that.
yeah.
You're not going to be able to win. All of your stuff's in your graveyard. Like,
I'm gonna get an op agent. Like, you know, like
yeah. And then if you counter it, then oh well. Like,
Yeah.
somebody else will counter whatever you want.
yeah.
So I do think that it's generically really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think a 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3. I mean, plus it's just Kefka with all of the Magicite espers like around him, which is cool.
Yeah, I definitely think that this is one of those cards that if it goes off, you're gonna be like the talk of the town for like a good few nights.
Yeah, and like at 4, like usually those effects are like, you know, 6 or 8. Yeah,
Yeah, I think everybody's gonna be like, "What is that?"
yeah.
Yeah, a 3 is solid.
And the fact it's instant too is really good. Like if it was sorcery, we wouldn't be talking about it, but like instant effects like this are really good.
Yeah, I mean, say you're holding up for I don't know. In black, you could be holding up for um, Adnos,
Yeah.
and then I mean, I guess with Adnos, you still run for it just to see.
Well, imagine having Adnaz in your hand, and then you pass to Sisay, and then Sisay is just gonna win. So you're just like, oh, okay, well, you have a op agent in your graveyard, right? I'm gonna play Espers to Magicite. I'll go get Op Agent, shut down Sisay. You know, like it's a good like. I don't really care too much about what's going on this turn. If this gets to resolve, whoever is trying to win right now probably isn't. Like,
Yeah, or a Draenith is also possible.
yeah, or just Dranith.
Yeah, I think a solid 3.
Yep, I'll give Espers to Magicite A3 as well. That's not it. What card am I missing? I'll have to figure that out. Next one is Avalanche of Sector 7. Legendary creature, human rebel. Menace. Avalanche of Sector 7's power is equal to the number of artifacts your opponents control. When an opponent activates an ability of an artifact they control, Avalanche of Sector 7 deals 1 damage to that player. Star 3. So this effect is pretty good for 2 generic and a red. On top of having Menace, on top of its power is equal to the number of artifacts your opponent control, and it basically turns every mana artifact into tap, take a damage. So it's like mana barbs, but just for artifacts.
Dare I say Obnix?
Obnix, I mean, it even works with Lion's Eye Diamond. So like whenever you sack, because it doesn't say activates a non-mana ability. It just says activates an ability of an artifact.
Yeah.
So it deals a damage to that player. So like it's one of those things that you can throw out and you're just like, all right, well, I've got a Kennen and a blue farm at my table. Cool. Avalanche of Sector 7's out. Like it's not Noof, but it's like the next best thing.
Or it's like, oh, you've got Smothering Tithe.
Yeah.
You want to activate them?
Yeah. It's like you've got 14 treasures. I'm going to go ahead and swing at this person. And the other person's like, oh, well, you could sack all those treasures and like they wouldn't kill me. It's like, but then I'd take 14. You know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. I think it's a good politic piece.
yeah.
I think as well as holding kind of the table at hostage. Taking 1 damage to use a Mox Amber or something.
Yeah.
It's sneaky.
Yeah. It's also one-sided. So it's whenever an opponent activates an ability of an artifact. So it's I always forget the Void Rod is a 2-cost artifact that just shuts down all artifacts. This is a 3-cost creature that you can still run artifacts, and your opponents have the option to use their artifacts, but it'll hurt them. This would also be good in that Ogier deck that we were seeing for a little bit.
The mono red?
Yeah, where it's like instead of taking damage, if you would take any damage, you just take damage up to his power.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's like, oh, you want to tap your Soul Ring? Take 4.
Yeah. I mean, this is solid. I mean,
Yeah.
I think there's also it would go in the little pistol shooter guy. I don't remember his name. But if
so you
do
take
one,
3 every time instead, I think.
I mean, is he gonna be CEDH? Man, I think he's just high level casual. However, this is something really good to know is there.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think it's going to see play somewhere.
Yeah, with the games going a little bit longer, especially like, you know, Blue Farm, like I could see somebody being like, I'm tired of Blue Farm mirror matches. I'm putting this in my deck. Like,
yeah. Good luck.
yeah. I'd give this a 3. I don't think it's a like this has to go in a current meta deck, but I could see people just throwing it in as tech for CDH.
I'm definitely saying 3. I don't think that this is a 4. I don't know if this is good enough for Obnix to take out some of Obnix stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I mean, it depends on your opponents. So like a lot of those effects, you want to have control over them.
yeah, I mean,
Like
that's my thing. Is it good enough to take a spot in Obnix? This is clearly, the effect is great for Obnix.
Yeah.
At a 3, it's a little bit shaky.
Yeah. And also like kind of the fear of this card in Obnix would just be all of your opponents just being like, okay, can we all agree that we're going to not just turbo out and we're just not going to use our artifacts anymore? Cool. Yeah. Like,
No, that's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow, though, with a lot of CEDH players.
I mean, with blue farm, yeah, but like in my deck, even though I run quite a few artifacts, I really only have like maybe 2 out. So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I mean, if everybody's not really using theirs, I'm not too against like kind of rolling back and just waiting for somebody to remove it, or you know, for Obnix to just be like, well, I'm going off anyway, and then all of us be like, okay, we've all been sitting back and waiting, like, boom, you're out of the water.
I mean, it also has menace, so you're looking at, let's say
Yeah.
there's 5 artifacts on the field, which
I mean, six is easy. Like,
I think 5 is easy early game
yeah, five
within the
3
first 2,
menace. Yeah.
and then like you take 5 damage a few times, you're hurting.
Well, there's also that guy from the Cowboy set that forces artifacts onto your opponents, and he also, I think, deals damage equal to the number of artifacts you have. And
Oh,
he's a 2 cost.
Are you talking about the tap treasure guy?
Yeah.
I can't think of his name.
I remember whenever I was playing it, and then like there were 2 blue farm players at the table, I would play it and everybody'd be like, oh God, he's just gonna beat us to death.
Yeah,
But imagine like 2 of those now.
it's also Avalanche,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll give Avalanche of Sector 7 a 3.
3 solid.
Yeah. Gua, Feral Youth. 1 generic red. Legendary creature, human berserker. When Gua attacks, put a 1/1 counter on it. At the beginning of each end step, if a card left your graveyard during this turn, Gua deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. And it's the beginning of each end step, so not just your end step. I wish this was white or black, just so it could go into other decks. Red is kind of hard. I mean, it makes your Savine's Reclamation in Blue Farm good, because it's just like, all right, well, I'll Savine's this land back to my field. Everybody take 5 at the end step. Like, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's just generically good. I'd give it a 2. There's not a whole bunch for me to talk about in this, just because it's red, but it's good.
I think putting it aside for later, knowing that there's a card with this effect, is probably great.
Yeah, I mean, it also works with flashback too, but a lot of the red decks that have flashback are going to be storm decks. They're not just flashing one thing back and then dealing damage to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to talk about it. I think it's a 2. Put it
Yeah.
aside for later. Know that it's possible, and then maybe there's a deck that really runs this, but I don't see it in anything like heavy meta.
Yeah. Next is Go-Go Mysterious Mime. 3 generic red legendary creature wizard. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have Go-Go become a copy of another target creature you control until end of turn, except its name is Go-Go. If you do, Go-Go and the creature each get +2 and gain haste until end of turn and attack this turn if able. So play Timna turn 3, play Go-Go next turn. You get a copy of Timna, and you have 2 4/2s swinging at people with lifelink. Like,
Ooh, I mean, at the beginning of combat, I don't think it really helps to get to be a Tali. That was what I was thinking. But I don't think
yeah,
it
no.
works. I think that maybe
I mean, there's so many red Timna decks that I'm just like immediately get 2 4/2 Timnas is pretty good. That can
Yeah.
swing.
yeah, and then there's also maybe Krark.
Yeah.
I could see that. If it's still Go-Go, then it's not going to sack your Krark.
Yeah, it's a little tough just because you cast it and then you're like, I'm moving to combat. All right, and like you have to attack with them. So like you can't just be like, all right, I moved to combat, shift out of combat. Like you have to immediately go, okay, both of my Krarks have to attack now. Like,
Well, also, like, a lot of wins happen on the stack with Krark. In combat, I could fiddle the diddle for like a while with two
Yeah.
Karks and a or
It would
three
all have to be
Karks.
at instant speed though on your own turn, which is kind of tough. Like you
Yeah.
could, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think that put this aside, or I think put it aside is probably better than this is just neat.
I'm gonna give it a 3 just
Well,
because
wow.
any deck that has Timna and red, you'll want this in. Like it's really good.
I'm with it. I could do a 3.
Because
I don't have the big brain plays for this one,
well, I
but
mean that's potentially 8 life back and then 4 cards for 4. Like
yeah, I like it.
just I mean it just seems good. Or anything that whenever it attacks, you get triggers because Go-Go would immediately come out, become that thing, and then immediately be able to attack. So all of a sudden you'd be getting double triggers from whatever you're copying.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a card we're missing that's just like mind blowing that this could be.
Well, there's also a Ishkin 2 Skies is 1 or whatever that whenever if you declare an attack and there's a trigger, you double those triggers. So you could put out Go-Go, make 2 of those, so you would double the double, or you would double the same attack trigger 4 times. You know, like it gets silly. Like
I mean, in Sisei, it would be possible double Derevi triggers.
yeah,
Be weird, but I don't know. There's a lot of implications for this one.
it
I could see a 3.
it combos with like a ham sandwich is the thing for me. Like it's just, oh, does anything have an attack trigger? Or it's cool, you got 2 of them. Like,
Yeah, I like it.
yeah, I'll give it a Go-Go Mysterious Mime a 3.
I'm with a 3.
I mean, also just Winota, two Winota triggers on everything.
At the beginning of combat, does it trigger?
It's whenever you declare an attack with a non-creature, I believe. So it's like double Winota. Like it's just it's silly in a lot of things. Like
I'm with it. Yeah.
Yuffie, Materia Hunter, 2 generic and a red. Legendary creature, human ninja. Ninjutsu for a generic and a red. Return unblocked attacker you control to hand. Put this card onto the battlefield from your hand, tapped and attacking. When Yuffie enters, gain control of target non-creature artifact for as long as you control Yuffie. Then you may attach an equipment you control to Yuffie. Like, what? That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, mono red is a little tough, but
Yeah, I don't think that she'd be a commander. The fact that you can immediately equip something to her is pretty good. And then you can also gain control of an artifact from somebody as long as you control Yuffie. Like, I think it's just generically good. Like, there's not a lot to say here. I don't really think that the equipment attaching is super relevant right now in CDH. So I'll give it a 2. It's something that I like definitely want to remember.
yeah, put it aside for sure. I think that it's a real close 3.
Yeah.
It's also Yuffie. I like Yuffie.
Yeah. I mean, just the fact that you're like, okay, attack with this, no blocks. Surprise, ninjutsu. That soul ring's mine now. Like,
Or One Ring.
yeah, or that one ring is mine now.
That's rough.
Yeah.
I was thinking that maybe you could blink her, but I think that every time she left, you wouldn't have. You'd lose whatever thing you stole. So.
Yeah, I'd go back to them and then you'd get it back.
But yeah, I think she's really good though. Like,
yeah, I didn't think about stealing somebody's one ring for 2. That's pretty good. Like,
yeah, I mean,
it's still very specific, but I mean,
and maybe you just use her for that effect.
yeah.
I mean, for 2 to steal a One Ring, it's pretty hot.
Stealing somebody's mana dork is pretty good, or like mana rock is pretty good too, because like let's say you invest a turn into an arcane signet, and then for 2, I put out a 3/3 and I take your arcane signet. Like pretty good.
I mean, you don't even have to hit with her; it just needs to hit the field.
Yeah, but you pretty much are hitting with her if you ninjutsu her out, because like you're swinging with something, it's not being blocked, and then you're bringing Yuffie out, taking it, and then hitting him for 3.
I mean, I think that you could be sneaky with this. Like, once ninjutsu hits, there's no trigger after it, right? So you wouldn't be able to tap one ring.
No, there is, because when it enters, the trigger goes on the stack.
Trigger stacks. Yeah. Okay.
The thing that's cool about this is I could look at you and go, that one ring's a problem. Can you let me swing this at you, and then I'll ninjutsu Yuffie out, and I'll take their one ring. Cool? Like,
I don't know. I mean, for me, an opponent having a one ring is a problem. Which opponent doesn't really matter.
yeah. Or like, this guy's way ahead. Like,
That's true.
I'll bring in Yuffie. I'll steal a soul ring. We good with that? Yeah.
That's true for sure. Yeah. I mean, I like the fact that she could be in the deck for ninjutsuing.
Yeah, or just pay 3 and take it. Like,
I really think the ninjutsu is where it thrives, though,
Yeah.
because I don't know if it's a spot in blue farm, but that's a solid play to just kind of be like, you can get rid of Yuffie if you want to.
yeah, it's like they'll get their soul ring back. Like,
I'm gonna say a 3. I was
Yeah.
gonna do a 2, but I think a 3 is better just because.
yeah, I think 3 is pretty fair. I mean, having your mana rock just taken away is pretty tough. Let alone an opponent acquiring it is pretty tough.
Yeah, no.
All right, cool. So 3 for Yuffie Materia Hunter. Next up is Professor Hojo. 1 generic and a green, legendary creature, human scientist. The first activate ability you activate during your turn that targets a creature you control costs 2 less to activate. Whenever one or more creatures you control become the target of an activate ability, draw a card. This triggers only once each turn. So this is fixed Nadu.
Yeah.
So it's you can still do shenanigans with the tap untap, where you tap, untap, draw a card. You're not putting lands out tapped, or like you're not putting lands from your deck out on the field. And then the first activate ability you activate during your turn that targets a creature you control costs 2 less to activate. That on a 2/2 2-cost creature is pretty good. I don't really know what effects would be relevant other than just the tap untap creatures just to draw a card on each of your opponent's turns. But I mean, pretty good, like just draw a free card on each of your opponent's turns is not bad.
I think that it's I do think that that's a really good ability. I just don't see it worth it.
Yeah, I mean, probably in Redshift it's worth it.
Because you're not really talking a 2, you're talking maybe a 3, because you have to pay for like maybe a birds, right? To tap a bird or tap something on somebody else's turn.
Well, it's something that targets. So birds just makes mana.
Okay, never mind.
It would have to be like, I know Redshift runs a lot of like pay this amount and buff your creatures, or like buff a creature. It's very specific. But I mean, we've seen for an effect like this, it needs to be very specific. So in decks that want to do this is really good. I'm gonna give it a 2 just because in CDH I don't know what decks would really thrive off of this. But it's strong. It's good, especially for 2.
Yeah,
it's not Commander by any means, but
I mean, even for the base 2/2 for 2.
Yeah.
I mean, I think put it aside. I'm sure there's a combo with it.
Oh, so I forget that equip. So this would make all of your equip costs 2 less.
Oh, okay.
So that's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd give it a 2. Maybe a 3 if equipment was more viable, but it's not. If it was red, I'd be like, yeah, this goes in Gojo or not Gojo. Godo.
Would clues are pay 2, right?
They don't target anything.
Oh, they don't target. Gosh,
equipment targets the creature. That's
I'm
why I was
messing up.
like, yeah.
Yeah, maybe there.
Yeah, I'll give it a 2.
2 is solid.
As a 2 for Professor Hojo. Next is Sphere Grid. Costs 1 generic and a green. Enchantment. When a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put a 1/1 counter on that creature. It has the unlock ability. Creatures you control with 1/1 counters on them have reach and trample. That's pretty silly. This will be really good in Elvery.
Yeah, I think this is. I think it'll see play in a certain deck.
Yeah, I think Elvery like looks at this and is just like, all right, great. Like all of my modified stuff gets turned on easier. That right now is not a huge deck in the format. It used to be. I think it has problems still, just being green white and pretty dependent on your commander staying on the board. But I mean, giving it more tools is pretty good. I am going to give it a 4 because if I still had Elvery together, it would go right in personally.
I think 4 is solid.
Yeah.
Like I think that this for 2 is a phenomenal ability.
Yeah. And just World Enchant like doesn't even attach to a creature. It's just this is out now. Deal with it. Like,
Or please counter it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I like this.
I mean, you could pick it up with Terra.
Yeah.
It wouldn't go in Terra, but yeah. So we're giving a 4 to Sphere Grid.
Yeah.
Summoning Materia, 2 generic and a green artifact equipment. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. As long as this equipment is attached to a creature, you may cast creature spells from the top of your library. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has vigilance, and add green, equip 2. This is really good in Frog. I forget the frog's name. Glarb.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
Glarb.
like, well, I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, it's Glarb, but you can cast all of your creatures on the top of your library, and then it makes Glarb big and gives Glarb vigilance, so you can attack with Glarb and then go, I can either surveil 2 or I can add a green.
I think that it's a little expensive though. I think putting it aside for later is probably where I'd put this one. I do think Glarb may want it, but does Glarb take out stuff for it?
Well, the big thing about summoning materia is there's so many 1-cost green spells that bring a creature to the top of your deck, but you have to draw it after, which is a little tough in green. This is a mono alternative where it's like for 5, and you can do that over the 2 turns. You get a big creature that can tap for mana, has vigilance, and then your 2 top tutors you can cast like they're in your hand.
But I mean, you're still casting.
Yeah, it's a 2 still, from me, but
I mean, I'm sure that there's some plays for this, but I think it's more casual.
it makes something that we know green does well a little bit easier to do. Like normally you would just bring the things to top and pass, but now you can bring the thing to top and still potentially cast it.
Yeah, 2 is where I'm at with it.
Yeah.
I was gonna
I
say
think
it's
Glarb
neat,
will
but-
like it, but I'm not confident enough to say Glarb will like it in order to give it a 4. I think it'll be a spicy pick in some Glarb deck.
Yeah, I think somebody will be like, "What does that card do?"
Yeah.
And then hopefully it does what it needs to.
Yeah, I mean, like, going back to Hojo, so summoning materia, you pay 2, bring it out. Equip it to Hojo for free, draw a card. Equip it, and then tap Hojo for green. Pay 1, and the green that you tapped Hojo with, equip it to something different. Draw a card.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's there. I just what combo it is. I don't play enough green, honestly, and 3 for it seems to be a little bit high. Well, really 5.
Yeah, it helps. Yeah, like combined with Hojo giving you draw and bringing stuff to the top to cast is pretty good, but you have to have a lot of enablers for this to be even halfway decent. So I'll give it a 2.
2 is where I'm at with it.
Yeah, 2 for summoning materia. Yuna's Whistle, 1 generic green instant. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put that card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. When you reveal a creature card this way, put X 1/1 counters on target creature you control, where X is the mana value of that card.
Jeez, it's word soup.
So you could tutor to top one of the Titans, and then Yuna's Whistle that Titan to your hand and put 13 1/1 counters on target creature after someone declares no blockers. Like, because
That's
it's instant.
that's pretty funny.
Yeah. Like it has some setup, but I mean it's pretty funny. Like
I think that even though it takes the setup, I think it's probably just neat.
yeah.
I don't think you're going to win a game with it.
Well, imagine attacking with Jumbo Cactar, someone declaring a blocker while you have Sphere Grid out, because it'll give everything reach and trample, and then you Yuno's Whistle, and you're like, as long as I hit a creature, you're dead. Like, and there's a creature in this deck, I can assure you.
Yeah, still a lot of mana.
It's funny,
to play.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, whereas there's a play there that you're just like, oh man, that's so funny.
yeah,
Does it really hit in CEDH? Not so much.
yeah. Like you'd have to be running a bunch of big stuff, and I think Kona was the only one that like routinely ran big stuff, but only a third of that deck was big creatures. The other 2/3 was probably like mana dorks. So
I think I think I could put this aside for later.
yeah,
I don't think that it's just neat. I think the ability is kind of unique.
yeah,
So I'm with you on it. I think that the cost of it for what it does is a little bit much.
yeah. It's probably not too bad in Redshift, because like with Redshift, you attack, you get a big thing to your hand maybe, and then Redshift is big permanently, and then you can make more mana with Redshift maybe. I don't know. It looks fun. Like, I just like it. I would put it aside for later. It's probably just I think it's neat card, but I mean, instant speed buff in green that goes and delves for a creature is pretty good, and you're guaranteed to hit a creature. So like, if I was still playing Rog Thras, I could swing with Rog, Yuna's Whistle, and I would know for sure I was going to hit at least 8 1/1 counters on that. Like,
And
and then put that creature to hand.
maybe the good in it is the fact that you have to find the creature.
Yeah.
So you could delve until you find whatever creature you're needing,
Yeah.
if it's one of the only creatures you have.
Yeah. So like with polymorph decks, you're just like, oh, I'm for sure getting this, and it's going to be big. Like,
Yeah, put it aside for later. This is a really unique ability.
yeah, it's fun. It's unique. I like it. Next one is Ardbert, Warrior of Darkness, 1 generic white-black, legendary creature, Spirit Warrior. When you cast a white spell, put a 1/1 counter on each legendary creature you control. They gain Vigilance until end of turn. When you cast a black spell, put a 1/1 counter on each legendary creature you control. They gain Menace until end of turn. 2/2. This seems really good in Blue Farm.
I think it generically is really good in both.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're running a white-black deck, like, generically very good, but just what deck does this go in that's meta right now? Probably not Blue Farm, because it's a win more card, but still, like,
I think Sisei cares about this.
yeah, like being able to get in is really good, and then getting 1/1 counters.
Also, the fact that, let's say you have one of your white pips that you need.
Yeah,
Now it's a 2
yeah,
because you put it out. Sisei gets a bonus.
yeah. Since
And
it gets a white and black bonus from this,
It's
yeah.
solid. Oh, with this one itself.
Yeah, because it itself is legendary.
But with it like also just gives the bonus of it, because you'll get the 1/1 counter, which yeah.
When you follow it up with another white.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
like let's say you have another one.
Well, I mean, let's say you have 4 mana, you play Ardbert, and then you drop your Esper Sentinel, and then you give everything +1 counters and vigilance until end of turn. Like,
You know what I just realized too? Like if you cast multiple white spells.
yeah, it's just when you cast a white spell, and it's cast. It's not when it resolves. So like,
Yeah, I was thinking, oh, I cast this one little creature,
Yeah.
but this could be, I'm gonna Swords to Plowshare
yeah,
and gain a 1/1 counter.
I'm gonna attempt to cast Swords to Plowshare, or I'm gonna attempt to resolve it. I'll get 1/1 counters. You guys can counter it. I don't care. Like,
I'm going to silence.
Yeah.
I also get a 1/1 counter.
I would like you to not counter this, but if you do, I still get the 1/1 counters.
I like this guy.
Yeah.
I think he might see some play. I don't know. I don't think he's good enough to just drop in blue farm. I mean, maybe if you play Timna, but I mean, you need him on the field. You cast Timna. Timna doesn't get the 1/1 counters from herself, so it kind of puts a weird damper on it.
Yeah, it's a win more. And with it being a win more, I probably wouldn't give it a 2, honestly, because like I don't think you're gonna make room blue farm for this, but it's one of those cards that if you have decided like I just want to be a combat farming blue farm deck where it's possible for me to just beat everybody to death, you could start to lean into that with this new set, which I like.
That's true. I was thinking Sisay, but I don't think that Sisay is really the play for this one. There's too many ifs.
Mm-hmm.
If he's on the field, if you have another white spell, then you get a +1 counter on Sisay.
Yeah.
But you've cast a spell, so you might not have the mana to Sisay trigger.
Yeah.
So you're passing.
Yeah, I don't think you're really firing off a bunch of spells that are certain colors in Sisay.
That's my thing with the black-white. Whereas it's really interesting. I mean, maybe the black for Menace is a thing. Like you Dark Ritual, get a 1/1 counter for Timna and Minister.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's it.
Or just to top tutor like you're going to do with Timna.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
Yeah. Ensure that you're going, because you cast the top tutor, pretty much ensure that you're going to get it with Timna.
Oh, I hit her, yeah. I still think it might see some play. This is definitely a good card. I'm going to say a 3. I could definitely see a 2 as well, but I think it's too good to just say it, put it aside. I think it might see a play.
Yeah. The Windmark cards, I'm always hesitant to give them a this might see some play. This is the first one that I think I've been like, if I was playing Blue Farm, I would want to be more of a combat-based deck, and I would probably start building my Blue Farm, if I played it, into more of a, I'm getting through with Timna. Like, you know?
Yeah, we're going.
All right, so 2.5 on average for Ardbert, Warrior of Darkness.
Yep.
Emmett Shelk of the 3rd Street. 2 generic, blue, black. Legendary creature, Elder Wizard. Spells you cast from your graveyard cost 2 less to cast. Whenever one or more opponents lose life, you may cast target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. If that spell would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. Do this only once each turn. I think this guy's pretty good. So you can have situations where, like, let's say you've used your Fierce Guardianship. You can talk to the table and be like, hey, I know you have a land that you can sack. Could you please just wait? And if somebody does something crazy, sack the land, let me cast my Fierce Guardianship from my graveyard for blue. Can we agree to that? You know, like, and it's only when one or more opponents lose life, you may cast target instant or sorcery from your graveyard. So it's only once. So like, you couldn't be like, all right, I've unlocked my entire graveyard because somebody lost 1 life. Like, it's just once per life you can help out. But the fact that you can use your counters and then be like, hey, they're cheaper in my graveyard now, and if anybody wants to let me help stop this person, just crack a land, keep a land up, crack it, and then when you lose the life, I'll target my Fierce Guardianship.
Yeah, I think that it's sneaky. There's a lot of politics to it, which seems to be a running theme with a lot of these cards, which is really cool.
Yeah. And of course there's ways for you to, like, the black wizards also, whenever you cast something, everybody loses a life, so you could cast something and then unlock something else. There's ways you can enable it yourself, but In CDH, it's just easy for you to be like, hey, can you just crack your land and I'll Fierce Guardianship that thing? Like,
The issue that I have with them for 4
yeah.
is why you're doing it. And I don't think that you're going to put this in just to be able to recast a Fierce Guardian.
I think this has to be a build around commander.
And even if it is, like, there's better blue-black, personally. And this one doesn't... I mean, the 2 less to cast helps, but I don't think it draws you any cards.
The problem with these types of decks is you have to get these things into your graveyard. So you have to find a way to force it into your graveyard, then have an opponent lose life, which is not too hard. And then your payoff with that is it costs 2 less to cast, which, I mean, technically it's in your hand, but it's also in your graveyard. So like Drannith is a problem, Grafdiggers is a problem. Like I could see this being a scary CDH commander. I don't have the mindset for it personally. So that's pretty much the only reason that I'm just like, But I'll give this a 3 because it's good in the 99. Maybe 4 is kind of a lot. But I do think people will try to build this as a commander, like a CDH commander.
I could see that. I could see a 3 for sure. I was gonna say put it aside for later.
Yeah.
I mean, the ability is it's interesting.
The other thing that you have to think about with this is spells you cast from your graveyard cost 2 less to cast. So like flashback costs are cheaper too.
Yeah.
Or like any like Savine's Reclamation, you could cast it for 3 and then cast it again for 3. Yeah.
That's true.
Which, I mean, this isn't in white, but
I mean, yeah, I could see where the 99 might like it. I was thinking Underworld Breach, but I went away from it because it was it didn't have red.
Yeah. I feel like if you're Underworld breaching, you have Lionside Diamond, and you don't care if things cost less.
Exactly.
Like,
It's kind of win more.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it could draw a card, I think that this would be really solid as a commander. I think how it is now, it's neat, but I think it's just probably casual.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're saying 3?
I could see a successful CDH deck built around this. Like I think it has enough. Like just being able to recur your counters that you've already used is pretty good. Because you're not giving them escape, you're not giving them flashback. It's you may cast them, so you could cast the stuff for free still, because it's not alternate costs at that point, since it's not escape.
Yeah, and there's also some really kind of fun plays you could have to like flashback a Vamp Tutor or something.
Like I think it has enough to it with the recursion. Like you could play Emmett Shulk and Tainted Pact for Thassa, and then force somebody to take a damage, and then play Thassa on the Thassa trigger, force somebody to take damage, and then recast Tainted Pact again, like for black.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
it has plays. I think being blue black is going to kind of keep it tier 3, but I think someone could look at this and go, I really like this. This is really how I want to play CDH, and then build a commander deck and do fairly well with it in tournaments. So I'll give it a 3.
I think 3 is solid. I think you see more of it than I do, but that's not surprising in some.
I mean, just for me, double tutors, double counters is just,
it's silly.
Sounds really good.
Yeah.
Lock Treasure Hunter. 1 generic, black, red, legendary creature, human rogue. Lock can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. Whenever Lock attacks, each player mills a card. If a land card was milled this way, create a treasure token. Until end of turn, you may cast a spell from among those cards. So I've seen somebody build a commander deck with just this at the head, which I don't think it did very well personally. But I think this is like the best card that has been printed for Blue Farm in a while. Like this is good. Like
Yeah, this is no surprise that this is going to be my force of will here.
Yeah.
I think that the fact that it's a possible Ragavan effect.
Well, the thing I like is it's when it attacks, you don't even care if it connects. So that's very flexible. And then also with Delaney, you get 2 sets of 4 with all of those triggers from Delaney. So you potentially can get 2 treasure tokens and then cast 2 cards from each 4 pile with Lock. And then Lock is pretty safe to attack because it can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. And Lock itself is a 2/3. So if somebody's going to block, they're going to block with something that's 2 for the most part, and he'll still live. So like it has a lot of evasion built into the card. It's an attack trigger as well, not a combat trigger, which is really flexible. And then the effect is just like really good. Like
I think that swinging with Timna with this is just prime Timna game.
yeah.
This is a good card.
This card is so good that if someone was playing Blue Farm and they cast it and they move to combat, I would probably remove Lock rather than Timna. Like
Yeah, because it gives me an additional possible 4 cards.
yeah, like it's really good. Like
Or is it 3 cards?
it's Ragavan 2.0 in that
Each
deck.
player,
Like,
yeah. I think that it's Ragavan. I think this is what should happen if Ragavan gets another color.
mhm.
Like if he's going to be 2 different colors, this is what should happen.
Well, it's also good, like, because let's say you go to combat and you're like, I have the combo I need. I just don't have a counter spell to back it up. And then you swing and you get a treasure token and you get like a 1 cost counter or a silence. You're just like, oh, I can win now. Silence? Like, you know,
Yeah.
like,
Also, just milling stuff
yeah.
off of other people's stuff is really good.
Yeah.
And in Blue Farm, I don't care if my graveyard fills.
Yeah. And like, it's one of those things where you're just like, I'm not very comfortable doing to top tutors that I don't have immediate access to because lock is on the field. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's gonna hit somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, this card is great. I think that it's I don't think it's a strong include in any deck, but maybe. I think so.
Any deck that can run black red
I think
is
so.
gonna
I think
run
that's right.
Ragavan. So I would say it's a 5.
This is a 5.
Yeah. Agreed. Force of will
Yeah.
for Lock Treasure Hunter, not Locke, which I've heard a lot of people say.
I'm gonna call it only Locke.
Or Locky, Locke. It's just as I believe, it's just Lock.
Lakaka.
Palp Alimo. Toto Limo.
I think you were speaking some kind of different language there, man.
Legendary creature, dwarf wizard. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it deals damage to each opponent and you gain 1 life. Pay 4, tap, sacrifice this creature. Each opponent who lost life this turn sacrifices a creature with the greatest power among creatures they control. It's a 1/2. It's interesting. I think that this one is good because it rewards storm decks to where you ping everybody for 1 and you gain a life. And then on top of it, it's pretty good in aristocrat decks as well. I don't think this in itself is a standalone commander just because, like, how are you casting 40 non-creature spells in white-black? Like, not very easily. But I do like the fact that you can just be like, I have 4 open mana. I'm going to sack it. Everybody who lost life this turn sacrifices the biggest creature that they have.
Yeah, I think that being 2 mana is kind of interesting.
Yeah. It just sucks that it exists exactly in the Lotho space and it's no Lotho. Like
yeah. I was gonna say for black white, Lotho is king here.
yeah.
I think that this just isn't I would rather cast Lotho than this every time.
Yeah.
However, this has a place somewhere.
Yeah. And because of that, the effect is very interesting in white black. I think I can give it a 3, but a
Yeah.
lot of the white black loops are with creatures, so I'm not too sure where it goes, but if someone could figure it out, it's a card that will win the game in black white, which is needed, you know.
Yeah, I'm down. I think a 3 is solid. It's probably closer to a 2, but I mean, it's too
Yeah.
good to not be a 3.
It's too good of an effect to not be a 3 in my mind.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, so that is a 3 for Papa Limo Toto Limo. All right.
Papa Limo, Toto Limo.
Yeah. Uh man, these cards are like not helping me out.
It is so
Yeah.
awesome that you're reading these because I'm looking at it and I'm like, ugh.
Urianger Augurelet. Urianger Augurelet. I don't know.
Your anger. I would have probably said like Uringer.
Uranus August. White blue. Legendary creature elf advisor. Whenever you play a land from exile or cast a spell from exile, you gain 2 life. Draw Arcanum. Tap. Look at the top card of your library. You may exile it face down. Play Arcanum. Tap. Until end of turn, you may play cards exiled with this creature. Spells you cast this way cost 2 less to cast. So the reason that I pulled this into the review is it's really good with Shorkai. Any deck that you're going to go into Scepter shenanigans where you're just tapping, untapping everything. The reversal scepter combo.
Yeah.
Yeah. With this, you literally can exile every card in your deck, and then you can play every card in your deck, and it costs 2 less to cast, and you gain 2 life every single time you play that card. So it's one of those things in Shorkai where once you get into the Scepter loop and you have this out, you're just like, okay, my entire deck I can play now. Are we cool? I have infinite mana in my entire deck in my hand.
Yeah, I can play it.
Yeah, it's like I can play it out, but
yeah, I was gonna say I can see it being put with one of the more stronger Azorius commanders, which Azorius is such a hard color to kind of pull. But I don't think that it's going to be a commander of its own.
Yeah.
I think Shorkai is there and maybe Plagon because he does have a big butt.
Yeah, and I've seen people say that like, oh, well, you're playing Humility in Shorkai, so you wouldn't play this. But like, no one's really playing Humility in Shorkai because there's so many good white-blue creatures that it just doesn't make sense to play Humility anymore because you're taking away all of these like great utility creatures just to maybe draw that one enchantment and maybe get it to resolve and maybe get it past a like Boseiju. So
no, I mean, I guess we're on an agreement of maybe 4, just because it's gonna play in Shorkai decks. This is a Shorkai win.
Yeah, I would give it a 3 just because Shorkai is like not very common anymore.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, will it see play in a certain deck? Like, yeah, it'll see play in white blue Scepter decks. Do we see any of those in the meta right now? I don't think so. I think a 3 is fair.
Yeah, I think 4 is reaching a bit.
Yeah,
I'm with you. I think that this card is good, but I don't think it's. I don't know if Shorkai wants to run it. It might not.
I think if it goes in a deck, if you're playing Shurikai, I could not get that out. You're probably making space in your deck for that. It's just if you're playing Shurikai, like why? Yeah, like not to be mean,
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. It's the same with like Plagon. Plagon had that move where everybody kind of wanted it.
Yeah.
But then it kind of fell off hard.
Yeah, I mean, I like those like kind of decks that are like one hit wonders where they come out and everybody's like, oh, well, now I know what to do. and then you just don't see them again. Like it's as I would not want to build that deck and then learn to play it and then win and then have to put it away and play something else. But I like that those decks happen. I like that those decks change things up. And I like that, there's some cards still printed for Shorkai, in 2025, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I'll give a 3 to Uranger Augerelt.
Uranger Augerelt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with it.
And that is our last card of the review. If you guys made it all the way through, thank you so much. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Show this video to all of your friends. And if you've seen any cards in this review that you're running out to get, please remember our TCG Player link. Helps us out a lot. Lets TCG Player know that we sent you directly there. And definitely opens up more opportunities for the channel.
For sure. And if y'all see any cards that we missed or that you think are better, post a comment. Let us know.
Or if you're just like, I have a Final Fantasy card combo that's cracked. Like I want to know. I want to see it.
So. Oh yeah. This set kind of turned me back into, Little Ghost.
Yeah, I want excuses to run Final Fantasy cards.
Oh,
so like,
hundo.
If someone shows me a cool enough combo, like I'll make a deck around it.
We'll make a deck.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys. I know this was a little shorter than our other review, but that was intended because that one was too long.
Yeah. You got a lot of us the last one.
Yeah. All right. See ya.
See you guys.